Tensions in the Middle East have always been complex. But the recent Israeli strike on Iran sent shockwaves around the world. While official statements cited defense and national security, insiders and analysts believe there's more beneath the surface. Israel's operation wasn't merely a reaction to a singular threat. It was a calculated move years in the making. The strike, carried out with surgical precision, was framed as preemptive, targeting Iranian missile infrastructure and nuclear sites. Yet, behind the public-facing reasons lies a deeper matrix of motives involving regional dominance, shifting alliances, and global pressure. This event wasn't spontaneous, it was strategic. To understand the real motive, we must rewind the clock. Israel has long viewed Iran's nuclear ambitions as an existential threat. Despite international negotiations and the JCPOA, Israel remained skeptical. Over the past decade, Mossad's clandestine activities inside Iran, including cyber attacks and assassinations, were warning signs. The world watched as diplomacy fluctuated between hope and collapse. Yet for Israel, time was running out. With Iran inching closer to nuclear breakout capability and the IAEA's access narrowing, the option to wait seemed riskier than striking first. This attack wasn't impulsive. It was the culmination of a doctrine rooted in survival. However, survival wasn't the only reason. Internally, Israel has faced political turmoil, polarization, and criticism over judicial reforms and governance. A military operation against a common enemy often has a unifying effect. By shifting the national conversation toward external threats, the Israeli leadership could reinforce solidarity and reassert control. The rally around the flag effect is a powerful political tool. In this context, war becomes more than defense. It becomes political theater. Analysts argue that the strike timing wasn't just about Iran's progress, but also Israel's need to reset its domestic narrative and refocus public attention. Another critical factor lies in Iran's expanding influence through its regional proxies. Hezbollah in Lebanon, militias in Syria and Iraq, and the Houthis in Yemen. These groups form Iran's so-called axis of resistance. Israel perceives them not just as threats, but as tools of Iranian expansionism. Striking Iran, especially its coordination hubs and Quds Force leadership, disrupts this network. The idea is to cut the snake off at the head. While proxy skirmishes have been ongoing, hitting Iran directly sends a chilling message: deterrence is no longer enough. Israel is willing to escalate the conflict to contain Iran's reach. Then there's the Abraham Accords. Israel's normalization of relations with several Arab states was a historic shift. Yet Iran views these ties as a betrayal, escalating tensions further. By attacking Iran, Israel tests how far these new Arab allies are willing to support or tolerate its actions. Quietly, some Gulf states share Israel's anxiety over a nuclear Iran, even if they won't admit it publicly. This strike was also a message to regional actors: Israel will act independently, regardless of diplomatic optics. It's also a test of strategic partnerships that have formed under the umbrella of shared security concerns. Global politics also plays a role. With the United States increasingly preoccupied by China and domestic polarization, Israel may feel abandoned or less confident in American guarantees. Although Washington has historically been Israel's strongest ally, signs of fatigue and shifting interests are visible. If Israel believes that the US is unwilling or unable to act decisively against Iran, it may take matters into its own hands. By launching this strike, Israel reinforces its doctrine of self-reliance. Moreover, It subtly pressures Western powers to re-engage and not leave the Middle East power vacuum to be filled by Iran, Russia, or China. Energy geopolitics cannot be ignored. Iran holds one of the largest reserves of oil and natural gas, and its resurgence on global markets threatens Israeli ambitions to become a key energy corridor to Europe. Israel has been investing in offshore gas and Eastman pipelines, projects that compete with Iranian routes. Undermining Iran's infrastructure could slow its economic comeback, keeping Israel's hand stronger in energy diplomacy. This conflict isn't only about bombs and borders. It's about economic dominance. Energy has become both a target and a tool in modern warfare. And Israel's strike may have been as much about pipelines as it was about missiles. Cyber warfare and technological dominance are other silent fronts in this conflict. Israel has become a cybersecurity powerhouse, while Iran has increasingly invested in offensive cyber capabilities. The invisible war has raged for years. Stuxnet, data breaches, power grid hacks. A physical attack may have included efforts to destroy or disable Iran's cyber command centers and communication systems. By crippling these, Israel sends a warning that hybrid warfare, cyber and kinetic, will define the next era. This move asserts technological superiority and seeks to neutralize Iran's growing ability to wage asymmetric digital warfare far beyond its borders. There's also a psychological aspect. Iran's leadership relies on projecting strength, both to its people and the wider Islamic world. A direct hit from Israel shatters the illusion of invulnerability. It can sow doubt among Iran's citizens, military ranks, and allies. The shockwave isn't just physical, it's mental. Deterrence works when fear is credible, and this strike aimed to reinforce that. It forces Iran to weigh every retaliatory option against the risk of further escalation. Israel understands this game of nerves. By breaking the threshold of direct confrontation, it raised the stakes and reshaped the psychological playing field. From a strategic perspective, timing is everything. The region is in flux. Syria's reconstruction is uncertain. Lebanon is economically devastated, and Iraq is balancing between Western and Iranian influence. By striking now, Israel may be seeking to capitalize on this instability. Iran's resources are stretched, and any large-scale retaliation risks destabilizing its own regime. Timing the attack while Iran is diplomatically isolated and economically fragile increases its effectiveness. Israel likely calculated that future conditions might be less favorable, especially with potential leadership changes in the US or a reinvigorated Iranian nuclear program post-sanctions. Critics argue that the strike risks igniting a full-scale regional war, but Israel appears willing to take that gamble. The cost of inaction, from its perspective, may be higher than the consequences of war. It's a chess move designed to preempt a checkmate. In its eyes, letting Iran go nuclear is an existential failure. Military escalation, while dangerous, is deemed a necessary evil. The strike is also a call to the international community. Resolve the Iranian question, or Israel will act unilaterally. It throws the spotlight back on global diplomacy and forces nations to pick a side. Ultimately, the real reason Israel attacked Iran is a convergence of existential fear, regional strategy, political necessity, and global recalibration. It's not about a single missile or a lone facility. It's about rewriting the rules of engagement in a region defined by ambiguity and brinkmanship. Israel's strike is as much a message as a mission that red lines exist, and it is willing to enforce them alone if necessary. Whether this gamble brings deterrence or disaster remains to be seen, but one thing is clear: Middle East dynamics have entered a new and unpredictable phase.